Appium tutorial series, and this is the third session. Previous two session links you can find in the description section, and we have basically discussed about Appium introduction and Appium installation in the previous two session. And today's session is going to be very interesting because we are going to explain a little bit about emulator and how you can do the setup of emulator in your system from scratch. So it would be very interesting because this is one of the most important part in your mobile automation journey, right? So let's not waste our time and start with our session, right? So my name is 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐿𝐴. I'm working at an SDET and I have my own blog. You must have seen it in my LinkedIn profile sometime. So yes, and I'm working in this automation field from a long time along with CI/CD, Jenkins, and a little bit on the DevOps side. So thanks to LambdaTest that they are really putting a lot of effort to come up with different type of tutorial series which helps the QA community to learn and definitely upskill yourself. So yeah, let's start with our today's topic, which is a very interesting one. Stay with me till the end and do let us know if what you like about this session, right, in the comment section. Okay, so our first thing to discuss is what is an emulator, right? So before we go through the definition, let me give you a small real-time example. You must have seen that kid used to play with a demo phone kind of device, right, which has only lights and buttons, correct? And if you it has some rings also. So in layman language, that is kind of an emulator, right? Because we are not giving our real mobile devices to our kids so that they won't break it, rather than we just give them a cheaper version, right, of plastic or maybe something which has a little bit of music but some of the buttons. So in a layman language, that is basically an emulator, right? And as the word suggests, emulator means it is emulating something, correct? Similarly, in case of Android emulator, it helps us to create virtual Android devices. Okay, so we can create virtual Android devices which are not real device, but still we can perform all the actions while performing the testing on those devices. So that means you are not going to buy a new device, but still you can test your applications on Android emulators, right? So as I told, it's like a pretend phone or tablet that runs on your computer. So usually those emulators you can run on your machine, and simply whatever application you want to test, you can install that application on the emulator and you are good to go for your testing, correct? So in a simple way, we can also say that it mimics the hardware and software of the target device. How does it do that? It basically by translating the instruction set architecture, right? If you want to learn about ISA, you can Google a bit, but as a QA community member, I don't suggest you to more deep dive into it. Rather, you should focus on how you can utilize the emulator, or where basically you can utilize the emulator during your testing phase, right? So in this session, we are going to learn the steps to create an Android mobile device, which we will use in the further series to perform our mobile testing, both functional and automation. Sounds good, right? Okay, I hope you guys are clear on the emulator front, right? So simple language, it's an alternative for a real device. So instead of spending a lot of money at the initial to buy all the different type of devices for testing, go for emulator. The best part is emulator can give you all type of Android version available in the market, most of the versions. We will see that while creating an emulator. Okay, so this is an alternative, right? For your, instead of buying new device, go for an alternative with emulator. Before setting up the emulator, as I have promised that I am going to do everything from scratch. So the first step is download and install Android Studio into your machine. That would be your first step, right? If you don't have Android Studio in your machine, it would be impossible to set up the Android emulator for your app testing, correct? So let's move forward. So before how you can download this Android Studio, I have there is a slide in the last of this presentation where I have given the link, but let me take you over there, okay, and I will show you how you can download Android Studio into your machine, and I'm going to show you in my Mac. So if you have Windows also, the steps are pretty similar, just you have to select the operating system you guys are using, right? So I hope folks it will be easy for you to understand, right? I will show you on Mac. So if you have Mac, so far so good. If you don't have Mac, you can do the same steps on the Windows machine, just you need to select the operating system you are using, right? So let's go and download the Android Studio. Okay, let's, before we are coming to this slide, let me take you over there. Okay, so where you need to go, come over here, developer.android.com studio, right? Come over here, Android Studio Electric Gel, anyone you can download, just click on this one, it will take you over here. Okay, if you can see my screen, so you don't have to read all those things, just click on this button. Now the interesting thing is you need to select that which Mac you are using. Is it a Mac with Intel chip or Mac with Apple chip? Sometime we get confused, right, that how basically you figure out that which particular Mac you have. So to do that, let me help you. Go to your, click on this about Mac. Okay, on the left top corner you can see there is an option, Apple symbol, right? Inside that you can, logo is there, click on that, about this Mac. So here you can see my chip is Apple M1 Pro. That means it is a Mac with Apple chip, correct? So you need to select this Mac with Apple chip. Once you select on this one, okay, your download is going to start. It will take some time, and for to save time during our session, I have already downloaded it, if you can see over here, right? So I'm canceling, this is the recent one, I'm canceling it. It will take some time, do remember, okay, the file size is approximately near about 1 GB, so it will take some time. So I have already downloaded it. So what we can do, we can quickly go and install the same. For that, just click on that, right? Yes, and what you need to do, you just need to drag the Android Studio and put it inside the applications, right? That's what I'm going to do. Inside the application. Now what it will do, it will directly install Android Studio into your application folder. See, the size is approximately 2.44 GB. So do make sure that you have this much space on your machine, right? Or else it would be a difficult situation to install. So once your install is done, you can simply go to Android Studio. Right, just click on that, just search and click on that. Android Studio in app, download from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? You have to click, of course, open, right? Yes, so we have clicked on that. So import Android Studio settings, you can do that by configure installation directory, or you can select do not import settings, whichever you wish, that would be fine. Okay. Statistics to Google, it again depends on you. I'm going to select don't send, right? As of now, I don't need it. Welcome, this widget will set up your development environment for Android Studio. Click on next, right? Definitely go with the standard one. Click on next, 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 and here you need to select accept. Okay, just on this screen. Okay, click on accept and simply finish. Once you click on this finish button, okay, it will start actually the download process, and you have to make sure that you have some time. Okay, your machine should not shut down immediately. It will take some time, okay, for the installation. So let's the installation complete, right? Meanwhile, what we can do, we can go back to our slide, right? Here I have written the steps, right? Correct. Launch the Android Studio DMG file, drag and drop, that we have done Android Studio, choose whether to import previous Android settings, then click OK. We have done that. We have completed the setup widget. Now we are in the phase where our installation is in progress. See, our installation is in progress. Okay, so we will take a quick break, and we will come back after the download is complete, right? Okay, so we are back and our installation is complete. So if you can see over here, Android SDK is up to date. You should see this one. Okay, whenever the installation is complete, you should check that this statement is present or not inside the downloading components, right? You need to just click on finish button and magic, right? So our installation is complete without any problem. That's a good thing. Here I will show you a couple of things. Okay, so here you can create a new project Basically you can customize things, you can add couple of plugins. There are very cool plugins also available over here. You can go and download your plugins over here. And if you want to learn about Android Studio, so I would suggest definitely go to this one, Getting Started. Okay, this is a very nice link where you can get most of the details about Android Studio, how to learn it, which path you should take. And not as a QA member also, if you are a software developer also want to explore designing app or explore the area which is kind of interesting, I would say, then definitely go for it and give it a try, right? So this is how your Android Studio look, right? Once your installation is complete, whenever you search it next time, just click on the Android Studio and this is how it will start, right? Got it, correct guys? Now what we need to do, we need to start working on the creating an emulator, right? Which is our main goal, correct? So now this section we have completed. Now we will go to the next section, that is emulator setup. And what is the prerequisite for emulator setup? Android Studio installation, which we have just completed. So whenever you want to create an emulator, okay, so those are the steps. You need to first open the Android Studio and click on configure AVD manager. So I will show you this. Sometime those options sometime varies, okay, don't worry on that. And I would suggest that this is a blog, okay, you can go to lambdatest.com blog Appium tutorial. Here also I have mentioned all the steps properly, okay, you can refer this one. I would definitely suggest you to refer this one, okay, this will help you to go through the installation steps, okay. I would definitely suggest to go through this installation steps. Right now let me help you in one more thing, okay. So before we deep dive into it, let's first see that how you can go to that option and create a emulator with FVD manager, okay. So I am going to open my manager, right, then virtual device manager. Can you see over here virtual device manager, right? I've just clicked on virtual device manager and create device. Once you click on create device, you should be able to see this screen, virtual device configuration. This is the most important part, okay, because here you are going to select that what kind of device you want. For example, you have a requirement like there is an app you need to test, correct, and that app need to be tested in a particular Pixel XL or Pixel 6. And if you don't have an emulator, what would be your normal approach? You would go and buy a device, right, with that setup, and you will perform your testing. Maybe after 1 month, the requirement changes and they ask you to support Pixel 4 also, Pixel 4a also, right? Then what you will do if you don't have an emulator? Again, you will go and buy a new device. Buying new devices again and again is not an ideal approach. That's why we used to take help of emulators to perform our app testing, right? Here is the place where you have to select that what kind of device you want for testing. Galaxy, Nexus, Pixel, you have the entire list of phone. Tablets also we have, you can see here. You can select your tablet, where operating system, desktop, TV, automotive, a lot of options, but the phone and tablet are the options that you are going to use very frequently. So now we are going to go with Pixel XL, right? Or let's go with Pixel 6. Right, so this is the device I am going to select. Here you can see you can create a new hardware profile also. If you click on this, it will help you to create a new hardware profile, okay. Means the device you want to select, you can select it from your Android TV, Google TV. There are a lot of options. You can select the screen size, memory you want, right, all kind of options you can select over here. And then what you can do, you can add it. If you don't find the desired hardware profile, then you can do that. In fact, they have given an option to import the hardware profiles too, right? So we do have a lot of options, correct? Don't worry on that front, like, okay, if I don't have a hardware profile, what should I do? You can definitely go and create a new one of your own choice, right? So if you have a specific requirement, when you basically need it, when you have a specific requirement to test on this particular hardware setup, then you should definitely go and create a new hardware profile, right? Once this step you have selected this one, device definition, click on next. This is the important part again. Here you need to select the system image. Okay, that means what kind of release you need. Okay, for example, if you see over here, those are the versions, right? As 𝐸𝐴, Pi, Oreo, and Marshmallow, Lollipop. So those are the version you have, correct? So you need to select any one of that. Any one of that means here I'm showing you the demo, that's why I'm selecting any one of them. But in your requirement document, you must have seen that whenever they give us requirement to test an application on a mobile device, they usually mention that what version or what kind of release name you have to select, correct? And here you can see the target part also, so you can check this one too. Here are the ARM images, okay, and here are the other images. You can just check those things, you can get a little bit more details about it, correct? Recommended, those are the recommended. So we are going to select Oreo, right? We'll go with Oreo, right? We all love Oreo, right? Okay, so I am going to select this one. Okay, click on this button. Okay, once you click on that, this is a SDK component installer. Okay, once, see, first time this one, this is a fresh installation, correct? And we haven't used this one before. If you have already used it, you may not have to download it again, but we haven't used it, that's why we need to download it, and it will take some time to complete the download, right? So we will wait for that, and once the download is complete, we will continue further, right? Installation is complete, right? Once the download and the setup is completed, you will see this done. Okay, so just wait for it until it will show you done, then you can click on this button, finish. Now you can see the Oreo is downloaded, right? Similarly, if you want to select for the first time Pi, you need to click on this button so that it will download, and it will take you around 4 to 5 minutes, or sometimes it depends on your bandwidth, right? The speed of your internet. But anyway, what if you want to select a new release first time when you are selecting it, definitely you have to click on this download. Once you select that one, you need to click on the next button. Here you need to give a name for your emulator. Here the default name is AVD name. AVD name they have given, sorry, this one is Android virtual device, right? AVD name. So it was Pixel 6 API 27, which comes default, right? So either you can select this one, or if you want, you can change it, right? Pixel 6. Appium series, correct? Pixel, I'm just removing Pixel 6 underscore LambdaTest Appium series, correct? This is the name I have given. One more important point to remember, okay? Sometime in the requirement we get like you have to test it in portrait mode or landscape mode. Do give proper attention over here, and check your requirement document. Okay, always check your requirement document while setting up those things. Here also you have an option to change. Okay, if you want to change the means the name or the density, resolution, size according to pixel or any nexus, so you can do that here also in this step. Okay, here also you can change the version, Android version, correct? If you want to go for another version, you can also change it over here, and definitely portrait or landscape. Then the graphics is automatic. Emulator performance graphics, usually when you are doing it for the first time setting up, go for the automatic one, or else you can select the hardware and software, but I would suggest definitely go for the default automatic, right? So device frame, enable device, keep it enable, okay, so that it will be easy for you. There are a couple of more advanced settings also, okay? For example, your camera, right? Front camera is emulated, or you can select webcam, whichever you want, right? So webcam you can select, back camera also you can select webcam 0, or maybe emulated, whichever you want. Okay, definitely we need to go with emulated as of now. Network speed, you can select that, because why this is important, sometimes you have to validate some specific things, right? In that case, this speed and latency you need to change. Or else if a simple application you are testing and you there is no specific requirement that has been mentioned, then definitely you should go with the default options. But if there is any specific speed or latency, then this is the place where you can make your own choice, right? Latency is UMTS, Edge, GPRS, whichever you want. Speed is similarly, whichever you want, you can select. Emulated performance, I have seen you. Boot option, see, cold boot is required sometime. Okay, I will show you once the setup is done. For the first time setup, go with the quick boot. Okay, definitely. Multi-core CPU, yes, we should go with multi-core CPU. It will go for, I guess, 4 by default, right? Then RAM means what kind of memory you need, correct? In MB, GB, KB, TB, all options are there. That's the beauty of Android virtual device. You have a lot of options to select. VM heap you can select, internal storage you can select, right? SD card, okay? External file, no SD card, studio managed. Here also the size you can change anything you want, right? Basically the approved sizes, right? It's not like any random number you can put, correct? Okay, so this one we have selected. Now what we need to do, we recommend at least 100 MB in order to use the camera, right? Yeah, so what we need to do, studio manage, this will be in MB, correct? Now device frame we have already enabled, right? See, here also there is an option custom skin definition, how to create a custom hardware skin. If you want to learn, you can come over here and create an emulator skin also, but we don't need it as of now. Okay, as of now I would suggest we should go with the default one, correct? All the advanced settings, correct? We have checked that what are the changes we can do, and once you are done with all the selections, right, as I have shown you can have some option to change, but yes, don't change those graphics and boot option at the start. RAM, VM you can explore, but what I would suggest, if you are setting out it for the first time, go with the default options, correct? After that you can make some changes. Again, don't even touch this skin part. Okay, it should be pixel underscore 6, right? Now I am going to hide the advanced settings and I am going to click on the finish button. Once you click on the finish button, the Android device is done creating. So if you can see here in the dashboard section, you can see the new device that has been created, right? So all the steps I do have mentioned over here, right? How you can move over there, what are the changes you can do. If you can see over here, all the steps I have mentioned, and also you can see those steps in the blog link, which I'm going to share in the description section, right? Once your emulator is created, now we should see how you can run and stop an emulator. Okay, so there are different options you can do. First, we will see how to launch, right, an emulator. Then we will see how to stop a running emulator. Then how to choose wipe data option to clear the emulator's data. This is very important because sometime what happens while you are working on an emulator, it gets stuck. Okay, and in that case, if you don't restart it with clear boot, then it you will unable to proceed further. That's why we should also see that how you can basically work on that section, how to cold boot and wipe out everything, right? So this first we will run and stop an emulator. To run an emulator, what you need to do, you need to come over here, click on this button. Once you click on this button, first time it will show you launching emulator. So here basically the emulator is trying to launch, and once this one is complete, would like to access my phone, definitely give it okay, and here we go. Superb, right? See, it is starting up. Android emulator, Pixel 6, and boom. Can you see? Isn't it awesome? So our emulator is up and running. This is how you should start an emulator. Now, if you want to stop this emulator, what you need to do, you can simply come over here. Okay. You can simply come over here, and this button you are seeing, right? This button. This one is for power. Okay, I will show you how to stop. This one is basically for power. Okay, if you click on this, usually the right button we have, right, just to lock your mobile. It's kind of that. So this is for your locking your mobile. This is your volume. You can go up and down over here, right? If you want to tilt it, you can use this one, right, to tilt it. This is the camera, right? You can use the camera option, you can zoom, right? This is the back button. Okay, this specifically. Okay, do remember this one, folks, you are going to need it a lot. Okay, this is the back button, and then this is the center button, right? Means this part, and this is the button where you see all the, remember all the applications, opened applications, we usually use it to kill, correct? To kill all our past applications that are open. Those are all the options you will get in emulator after you start it. Now if you want to close it, right? So these are also some of the options I'm going to show you. Okay, if you want to close it, what you can do, you can simply click on this button. Done, right? So here to run, here to stop. Got it, right? It's quite easy, correct? This is one more options. Okay, here you can again edit some of the settings you already have done. Here basically here you can change the settings, right? You have already done before, and here is the option that I was talking about. This is very, very important, very important. Okay, if you want to delete this particular section, you can come over here and click on the delete button. If you want to duplicate this one, you can click on duplicate, and it is going to create a new virtual device with the same setup that we have used while creating the first one, right? So if you want to duplicate, it will see a copy has been created. Simple, right? So you can create very fast multiple devices. Now if you want to wipe the data, you can simply click on this one. It will wipe your data. But as I told, sometime what happen, your emulator will get stuck. In that case, what you should do, you should go and do the cold boot now. Cold boot is very important. Okay, you will see this one, because many a time you will face, I used to face this a lot. My this one gets stuck, it got hang. I always used to come over here, I used to restart it. Okay, once you restart it, you are good to go, right? Hope you guys are clear on this part, correct? Now let's so we are done with running an emulator, stopping an emulator, walk through about all the options we have, and at last we are going to see what are the benefits we have already realized, right? That one of the most high, I guess a most high priority benefit is costing, correct? Because as I told, if you have a requirement where you need to test your application on multiple Android version, right? Multiple device, Google, Nexus, Pixel, maybe with Oreo, Lollipop, right? In that case, it is quite difficult to afford to buy 20 number of devices with different Android versions. So instead of that, emulator is cheap, right? You just have to have the knowledge to do the setup and you are good to go, correct? Cross-platform support, 100%, right? We have seen why cross-platform. Just now we have seen that what kind of flexibility it is giving us to create, right? So anyone, a phone, tablet, desktop, TV, all kind of support it is providing. So it is quite easy for us, correct? You are getting the point, right? So cross-platform support with multiple devices, multiple phones, tablets, TV, everything is provided by emulators. So that is the beauty of it, right? Third one is high fidelity. The emulator successfully provide all the capabilities. Yes, this is the important part. Okay, capabilities means basically we have seen, right? It is giving us to use the camera, right? It is giving us the option to go back in our screen, to delete the opened application, to turn off the screen, right? To go to an application and use it. So those are very important. In fact, you can also simulate incoming phone calls and text messages. So in short, if you don't want to spend a lot of money in initial investment and still want to do the best with your mobile automation and mobile testing, emulator is the best way to do it. In fact, most of the organization using emulator a lot for their testing. Now this is the bonus part. Okay, what is the main difference between emulator? Till now we are discussing about emulator, right, and simulator. Okay, so usually emulator and simulator both does the same thing. It helps us to perform testing, but the main difference among them is emulator simulates the hardware and operating system of a mobile device. Okay, and the next important part is using emulator, that it will give you both hardware and software part. It basically simulates both the hardware and software part. So you have a upper hand with emulator for sure, right? Example is BlueStack, which is a very well liked Android app emulator, as I have mentioned over here, right? This is a very famous one, BlueStack. Okay, but always remember, emulator, simulator both doing same job, but emulator is kind of giving you to simulate the hardware and operating system both of a mobile device. But when we come to simulator, okay, it's not on a real operating system. That's what you can see. And it is basically used with our iOS simulator. 𝐀𝐥𝐿's iOS simulator is the best example. So you will have little bit of problem while debugging with a simulator for sure. Okay, this is my personal experience also. But it is quite faster. Okay, it works faster than emulator. Yes, we have to admit that. But I felt like yes, sometimes emulator is easy to debug and some of the options is quite handy in emulator, which you will miss in the simulator part, right? Because it is not running on a real operating system. That is one of the thing. Now coming to the main differences. Now we have a bare idea that okay, the emulator is like both hardware and software simulating. Simulator is like not on the real device. I got it. This is on Android, that is on iOS. But what are the main differences? Simulator is a partial re-implementation, but emulator is a complete re-implementation. Okay, this is a very important point. Okay, and a simulator is a computer program that basically helps us to create a mirror image, right? But does not actually run the real software. But in emulator, you can run a genuine software, means a real software. Isn't that awesome? So yes, definitely emulator has some upper hands, but that doesn't mean that simulator is not useful. You, while working with iOS, you have to go with simulator, right? And definitely whenever you are testing a mobile application, you would get both emulator and simulator, right? But yes, most of the time emulator would be the one which is of high priority, and that's why we have shown you how to do that with very cool setup, right? We have done everything from scratch, so I hope it would help you folks to install it and start exploring a bit, because in the next section we are going to install a real-time application, right, mobile application, into the emulator that we have just created, and then we are going to test some of the actions over there. Those are the references link, okay, where you can find the Android Studio, where you can install it, download it, and I have given the Appium tutorial link over here to go through the steps. I'm going to share this presentation also, okay, and definitely thanks to LambdaTest to help us and create those beautiful videos, right, which help the QA community. And if you want to learn more, you can go to communitylambdatest.com, or you can check out their blog. I have already shared my blog links. There are a lot of interesting blogs over there. Go and check those. And if you are really a guy who love to do certifications, then this is a place where you can go and explore. So hope you have understood the steps to create an emulator. Before closing it, I'm just try to show that again. I'm just dragging off, right? Yeah, so this is how, isn't it? Looks beautiful, right? See, this is the text message, as I told, right? You can type a name, test, correct? Yes, I am in, and start a group conversation. Click on this one. It is definitely show you invalid contact. You can write a real contact also, correct? See, type a message, hi, right? It's awesome, right? It usually does everything you want from a mobile device. Okay, that's the beauty. And if you want to go back, this button, see, going back, and this is the mobile calls you can make, right? 996, you can simply click on those things, right? 96, any number. I'm just typing any number, right? Any valid number. Do remember to do with a valid number, right? Once you click on the valid number, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and one more number, and then click on dial. So any one you can use, okay, any number, just for a trial. I'm just showing you, okay, don't worry. See how beautiful it is. You can use mute, you can use speaker, you can use hold, all kind of option you can get, and at last you can click on the end call button. Isn't it beautiful? I always feel that this is the best thing actually. Whenever you are testing something, this is the best option. Okay, so I guess we are almost done, and with that I am going to close. And always remember to close or shut down your emulators once you stop using it. And I would suggest close the Android Studio also, because it will take a lot of memory. Your system will go slow also. Okay, hope you have liked it. Meet you in the next session, where we are going to install the application and do a lot more things on it. Till then, bye bye, take care. Hope you guys have a great day, and bye bye.